Be it temples, railway stations, political rallies, or even a stadium. All these public places have got tragic tales of stampedes to narrate. The last report on stampedes came from Srikakulam, Andhra Pradesh. In 2025 alone, India has reportedly lost more than 120 lives to crowd crushes. About 20 years ago, on 18 December 2005, heavy rains forced thousands of people who were seeking flood relief tokens to rush inside this Arignar Anna Corporation School. 42 people, mostly women, were reportedly crushed to death. 37 were injured. The same story repeated here as well. Too many people, too little planning. The lack of planning was also seen on Marina Beach on 6th October 2024 when lakhs came to watch the Indian Air Force air show. The show ended, but the nightmare began. People walked miles in scorching heat, crammed into Velachery MRTS station and surrounding roads. 5 died from heat stroke and exhaustion. Hundreds collapsed. The marina you see calm behind me turned into a chaos that day. While not called a stampede, the mismanagement, lack of basic facilities, and no exit plans, coupled with the weather, was responsible for the deaths. For Tamil Nadu, the latest shock in recent times came from Karur. Actor turned politician Vijay's Tamaraga Vetri Karagam's political rally. Reportedly, 41 people died after the political rally turned chaotic on a narrow main road. No exit routes, no water points, no crowd zoning. The survivors told the Federal that they were carried as if there was a wave with no idea where they were going or where they would land.
Earlier this week, the CBI questioned Vijay in New Delhi in the Karur Stampede probe case, reportedly including on his alleged delayed arrival at the venue.
Factly cites the National Crime Records Bureau's Accidental Deaths and Suicides in India report to state that 3,074 people died in stampedes between 2001 and 2022. Approximately 145 people on average every year. Jharkhand, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu purportedly accounted for half of the total deaths in stampede since 2001. Last year, 2025, is already the second deadliest in recent times, according to reports. India witnessed a heartbreaking series of crowd crushes and stampedes when moments of devotion, celebration, and anticipation turned deadly owing to overwhelming numbers and tragic mismanagement.
While a crowd crush happens when too many people are packed in a confined space, causing them to push and fall, stampedes are when there is a space for those in a gathering to rush or run, typically to reach something or escape from somewhere.
The Tirumala Venkateshwara temple in Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh saw 6 lives lost in January 2025 in a rush for sacred darshan tokens. After that, at the Maha Kumbh in Prayagraj on Mauni Amavasya on January 29, over 30 devotees lost their lives in a pre-dawn chaos at the Sangam. 18 lives were lost in the rush for trains at New Delhi railway station on February 15, 2025, caused by a crowd crush of pilgrims desperate to reach Prayagraj for the then ongoing Kumbh Mela. The Sri Lairai Devi temple in Goa in May 2025 saw the loss of 6 lives as crowds thronged to participate in an annual jatra. The Royal Challengers Bangalore's victory parade in Bengaluru in June 2025 saw 15 fans lose their lives amidst frenzied celebration. The Puri Rath Yatra, also in June 2025, saw 3 devotees trampled near Gundicha temple during the divine procession. In one of the deadliest political rallies in Tamil Nadu in Karur, 41 lives were lost on September 27, 2025. Later, at the Srikakulam Venkateshwara temple, Andhra Pradesh, 9 devotees, including children, lost their lives in November 2025 during a rush on the auspicious day of Ekadashi. While stampedes have occurred at different types of events in India, they stem primarily from gross mismanagement by organizers who fail to anticipate massive crowds, implement effective crowd control techniques, and fail to make provisions for emergency response teams and exit plans.
June 4, 2025 is a black day in Indian cricket. Right here outside the M. Chinnaswamy Stadium, after a stampede where nearly 3 lakh people had gathered to celebrate Royal Challengers Bengaluru's IPL 2025 trophy victory. On the previous day, on June 3rd, Royal Challengers Bengaluru had won their maiden IPL trophy, ending an 18-year wait. And the following day, they had planned celebrations right inside the inside their home stadium, that is M. Chinnaswamy Stadium here in Bengaluru. For that, they had issued free passes from the morning, and the stadium capacity is 35,000. But with nearly 3 lakh turning up and all the gates thrown open, almost 21 gates here at the stadium. And there are a few gates where stampede happened, and this was one of the gates, gate number 7, where most deaths happened, and over 50 were injured. And in the aftermath of this terrible tragedy, with celebrations turning into tragedy, the Karnataka government set up a probe panel, and it squarely blamed the RCB franchise, event managers, DNA Networks, and the host cricket association, that is the Karnataka State Cricket Association. Now, as we continue our lives and look back at the year 2025, how could have this tragedy been avoided? Who is to be blamed? The panel has blamed the RCB, KSC, and DNA Network. But in future, how can these tragedies be prevented?
After RCB won the game and the party went on through the night, hardly any of us slept. Some of us slept a little bit, most of them didn't sleep. So next day morning when I asked my nephew, hey, what's it, man? What is happening? What about any celebration? He said, I don't know, auntie, maybe today or tomorrow. Then I told him, I hope it's tomorrow because today is too less a time to arrange anything, it'll be going to be tough. And then I went to work and whatever. When I came back home, everybody's sitting and watching the horror unfold on television. And then I was like, boy, if a layperson like me felt that we needed a day's time, to prepare, I'm sure, things should have panned out better. This is all I can say, that henceforth, when we do any big events, a lot of thought needs to go into it and not just the passion of it and the, flow of things. This is what I can say, but it's sad those 11 lives lost. Such things should not be repeated again, and this is my request.
Definitely, the management of the Royal Challengers Bangalore has to be held responsible. The management of the Karnataka State Cricket Association also have to be equally blamed. They need to accept what they've done. The point here is this should never happen again. First of all, the Chinnaswamy Stadium is located in a center of Bangalore where the traffic is very heavy, movement is very heavy, people movement is also very, the footfalls are very heavy. And they did not have proper fire extinguishers, they did not have proper gates. So it was totally mismanaged. The KSA responsibility also has to be taken into perspective. So, given what has happened at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, which has been converted into a graveyard, and across the country, the government should have a certain plan wherein such stampedes are avoided.
Psychologists explain that once a trigger occurs, it rapidly escalates into mass panic, pushing people into a collective fight or flight response, where rational thinking shuts down and the only instinct is self-preservation.
This kind of stampede leads to a lot of panic situations among people, and especially panic levels are more at the individual. Here it happens is more at the mass panic level. It happens where the person are in a very flight or fright zone where there's a lot of danger is being sensed, and because of that, they are in the sense of danger and they want to save their lives. So their brain is unable to think other than just running around and save themselves. So this leads to this stampede aspects, and obviously there's a lot of emotional contagion that happens where that leads to this kind of behavior. So definitely during the situation, the brain will not be able to think clearly as to what to do, how to be, remain calm and deal the situation, rather than it just pushes you in that flight mode, and then makes you do this kind of behavior just to save their lives.
In densely populated India, stampedes cut across all settings, be it political rallies such as in Karur, cricket stadiums, temples, churches, mosques, cinemas, and music concerts. Religious gatherings such as the Maha Kumbh can turn chaotic any minute.
सर्वप्रथम हमको अपने स्वभाव में परिवर्तन लाना होगा। ये जो हमारी उन्मादित धार्मिक व्यवस्था है, इसको सहिष्णु लाना करना होगा। ईश्वर प्रेम चाहता है, ईश्वर संयम चाहता है। इतनी दूर जाके 1500 किलोमीटर जाके दर्शन करें, उसके बाद में हम 5 मिनट में अपना आपा खो दें, ये उचित नहीं है। इस पे विचार करना होगा, तभी ये भगदड़ ठीक होगी। और इसको साइंटिफिक ढंग से, अब तो ऐसी चीजें आ गई जिससे आप भीड़ को भी देख सकते हैं। हिंदुस्तान में वो भी प्रयागराज की धरती पर कुंभ ऐसा पर्व, अद्भुत, अविश्वसनीय, अकल्पनीय, इतनी बड़ी आस्था की भीड़ को संभालना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है।
तीर्थराज प्रयाग के कुंभ में भगदड़ के बाद जो परिस्थितियां बनी, जिस तरीके से जूते चप्पल बिखरे थे, उससे एक मन में संदेह पैदा हुआ। हालांकि प्रशासन यह कह करके निश्चित हो लेता है कि हमारे पूर्वानुमान नहीं था, या आंध्र प्रदेश के केस में तो बड़ा अजीब हुआ कि जब प्रशासन ने कहा कि मंदिर प्रशासन की तरफ से हमें कोई आवेदन ही प्राप्त नहीं था, तो क्या प्रत्येक तिथि पर्वों पर आवेदन करना आवश्यक है? या हिंदू समाज के अंदर धार्मिक भावना जो बढ़ी है, मठ मंदिरों में जाने की, अपने तीर्थ मेले, व्रत, पर्व, त्योहारों के प्रति श्रद्धा की, इस श्रद्धा के साथ प्रशासन नहीं चल पा रहा है, ये उसकी कमी है। मेरा मानना है ये प्रशासनिक कमी है।
Even environmental factors play a role and can intensify the impact. Global warming and urbanization amplify ambient conditions, turning crowds into lethal heat islands and precipitating panic-driven stampedes. Senior journalist C.S. Kotishwaran, who was at the spot of the stampede in Karur, points out that the lack of civic sense was the main problem in Karur, and how effective implementation of protocols could have prevented the untoward incident.
If there is a crowd, anything say which is more than 2,000 or 3,000 people, that is more than enough to create a stampede. All you need for a stampede to occur is lack of civic sense and failing to realize the threat behind convening large congregation. We were able to control and regulate the crowd. But after that, it's not that we should be repeating COVID norms. What I'm saying is that if we want to do it, we can do it. But unfortunately, we don't have the stoppage line. It starts from the basic etiquette, like following a queue and just giving that elbow space for your neighbor. Recent study has shown that if there is some 4 people or 5 people within a 1 meter square place, you are like a person, like a bulb, who will be emitting a lot of heat energy, creating fatigue for your own self and also affecting the airflow of your neighbor. Sometimes on those days, it is for the government authorities to bring into the system in place, particularly with cricket matches or concerts and things like that. What you can do is you can bring in enforcement, or if that is not being followed, FT fine amounts, strict regulations. I think that will give an eye opener for the people who are conducting such events. The need of the hour is effective implementation of the rules in letter and spirit, a standard operating procedure that has to be followed, and some kind of affidavits, some kind of undertaking. All those things should be submitted by the event organizers, and also things like fire safety, ambulances, toilet facilities, drinking water facilities. These are all there in the rules, but unfortunately, these are not followed in letter and spirit. I think there should be a nodal officer monitoring on all those things.
Private event planners such as Showspace Events based in Chennai emphasize that zone entry systems and voluntary training are really important. But often events don't have certified crowd managers. Every large-scale event must begin with selecting the right venue and infrastructure, as safety is non-negotiable.
When it becomes more than 5,000, more than 3,000, I would say, create zones. Each zone should not be It should not handle more than 500 to 750 people. And they should be a self-contained unit. There should be an ingress and there should be an egress. There should be enough toilets, there should be water, refreshment. You always need to factor in, if you're planned for X number, that you 10-20% is more at any point that you can manage. More than this, you will still be able to handle it. We are able to track. Of course, if in a registered event, when you register, X number of people are expected. And then when they cross a certain barrier, how many numbers. So technology does a great job at all this. The technology does a great job of all that. We use a lot of it nowadays to track how many people have entered through every venue. For some reason, more people are trying to get in. You need to stop them. There's no point, it is better to be safe than sorry. Are there enough emergency exits? Are there enough routes for us to open out? The police or the authorities may have said you may not use a certain place, but in terms of extreme situations, you may be forced to use them. So those are things that you need to have as a backup plan. But given all these things, there can still be an emergency, there could be an ambulance, so you still need to plan for contingency. Right. So what is the way to block off a certain point so that you can let an ambulance go? Because marathons always have these, we ask what is going to be the entry points, what is going to be the exit points, how many people will each entry be used for. So those are the considerations which go into any event.
Karur was not the only incident involving a celebrity in recent times. Earlier, in December 2024, a theatre in Hyderabad witnessed a stampede-like situation during the premiere of actor Allu Arjun's film Pushpa 2. Experts say that we need to learn from experiences where regulations are in place, be it cinema halls, temples, or stadiums that successfully handle a large amount of crowd on a regular basis. They emphasize on preparedness, proper capacity building, and mock drills to avoid such tragic incidents in future.
Preparedness can be a major factor, and that is possible when you conduct some kind of a mock drill or an exercise in a situation. And what is the roles and responsibilities of people, the stakeholders, people who are organizing the event. You plan for the worst case scenario. If everything goes well, fine. And crowd management is a problem, because we don't have a one size fits all kind of a solution.
From MJR Nagar to Maha Kumbh, Chinnaswamy Stadium or Karur, the locations change, the story remains the same. Too many people, too little planning, zero lessons learned. If the repeated loss of lives has taught us anything, it is that it is time the public, administrative authorities, and government treat crowd management as seriously as VIP movement to ensure stampedes do not become a natural fallout at big crowd events.